Aloha everybody, welcome back to the series on getting started with WordPress on Bluehost. In the last series, I showed you how to purchase your Bluehost account, what packages to select, and which options you might need and which options you should avoid. I'm Chris Joels, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to move around your new Bluehost account dashboard. You need to know where some settings are, and you probably should know which ones to avoid. Okay, so don't forget to like, subscribe, and let's get started. All right, everybody, here we are at our Bluehost hosting dashboard. And as you can see, we're on the home page here, and they have this checklist that you could go through, find help, etc. You could also find up here help, your notifications if you have any notifications on your account, shopping cart, and your account. Okay, this is where you could go and set up all your profile, your billing, and stuff like that. Okay, some of these same things you could find in here as well. So what we're going to do is go first check out this tab called My Sites. Now, My Sites is where all your WordPress websites that are hosted with Bluehost will show up. So as you can see here, we have our new WordPress website, yourdivvywebsite.com. And if you click on Manage Site, it will bring us to this Bluehost website dashboard. Okay, this is actually the dashboard for the specific site that we clicked on. We will go through this dashboard in the next video. Okay, I'll put a link up above and we'll come back to this. For now, let's continue on to the next tab, which is the Marketplace. The Marketplace is, as you can see, where they want to introduce you to themes, add-ons, professional services. They want to show you featured products like themes, add-ons, and plugins. I would avoid many of these plugins and add-ons and services. They will probably just cost too much. They really get you to think that these are like little apps and everything that you should just automatically download to your WordPress website, and it's going to make your WordPress website better or get more views or improve the security and all kinds of stuff. A lot of these I would really recommend avoiding. They will slow down your website if you start adding on too many. Okay, so make sure you know what plugin you're installing is used for, whether it's important or not, and if you really need it before you download it. There are many successful WordPress websites and blogs without a lot of these extra add-ons. Okay, and that's usually the first place a lot of bloggers and new website builders run into problems, is with downloading too many plugins. So downloading too many plugins is an issue we do not want to get in. But anyways, if you wanted to browse through this, you could find themes, you could find different services and add-ons and one-click installs. These one-click installs now are to your WordPress host. Okay, these do not go into your WordPress website. So that's the Marketplace. Let's go into your Bluehost email and Office. You can see there's options to improve your email the way it looks. Okay, it might not look like this yet, and you need to do things to make it look like that, for instance. They also give you the option to sign up with Microsoft 365 and G Suite. These are not necessary. Your Bluehost package, when you bought your domain and your hosting, should have came with one free domain name listing for 1 year. Okay, and that also comes with email, free email, usually up to 5 or 6 custom domains. Okay, so you do not really need to sign up for this unless you're interested in that. And then you can read these things below. So now if we go to the domains, so you'll see my domain here. You'll see that it's on for renew. It's set for private and it's a verified, okay? And I could go to manage it here. This little drop down menu is exactly what you're gonna find in here, okay? So we could go to manage my domain and I could check the different settings here, okay? I could go into the contact information. I could go into my security and see that my domain privacy is on. We could go to the name servers. The domain name servers is something that you might run into later on. I would really suggest not touching this unless you 100% know what you are doing, okay? All these A records and C name records and all this stuff down here, I do not recommend you getting involved with this unless you are 100% sure you know what you are doing. Finally, we can see the settings attached to our domain. Okay, we have the privacy protection on. and that's it. So feel free to go through these settings and look around and see how you have them set up. Again, I really recommend being very careful when it comes to messing around with your domain name settings, all right? We also have this marketing tools tab over here, which again are just platforms they want to sell you and upgrade you to so that you could pay a little bit more money. You're more than welcome to look through all these, but you do not need these to start a blog or start a website, okay? They could be helpful, and that will be up to you and your plans with your website going further. Okay, and then finally we have this advanced tab. This is basically your cPanel. If you've had a website before, and if you've ever been around websites and hosting, the most modern hosts have a cPanel. The cPanel is basically your panel to control your host. This is what many people are familiar with when they go into the back end. They're hosting website, okay? This is Bluehost setting up things for you and stuff like that. But many of these things and options and things that you could do, your database and your CNAMEs, etc., and your files can all be found here. Let's just kind of go through each section real quick because you may need these as you build your website and you need to add files and codes and upgrade PHP and stuff like that, and even manage your email. Okay, so you can see here we have a file section. This is where we manage our files. If we go into File Manager, this is my host. If I go in further to public HTML, this is my WordPress files. Okay, and we will go through these in future videos, but for now, you should know that this is where they are, okay? So we'll close that. That's our File Manager. Many of these things you will not need, okay? You will maybe need to set up FTP accounts. FTP accounts are how files are transferred from your computer to the host, okay? So you set up FTP accounts if you want to use things like FileZilla to access your files, all right? And you would set up FTP accounts maybe for your web developer to access your files and upload files. So databases, WordPress is built off of databases, okay? And so the MySQL database is where that database is located. You could have multiple databases because on your Bluehost hosting, you could have multiple websites. You could host multiple WordPress websites. And so therefore you would have multiple databases, okay? So the databases are where your developers and stuff would go to make corrections, fix things, and find problems within the database that break your website. So this is a place I do not recommend you go into unless you 100%, like I said, know what you are doing, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and close these tabs that maybe, you know, I don't belong in. Email. This is where you can set up your email accounts, okay? So if you click on email accounts, you will see you have a default email that was set up by Bluehost. And this is basically to catch emails that come to your .com domain name and don't have anywhere to go. You could delete this after you set up a new one. You'll see that you have 5 available and 0 used. So this means you have 5 custom emails you can make. You can make info@yourdomain.com. You could use your name at yourname.com, etc., etc. Okay, and this is where you would create new emails. Right here. Okay, great. So let's go back a step. And this is also where you would find other email settings, which you rarely need. And so I would close that as well. Metrics tabs is where you could see your overall bandwidth, look for errors, and see the stats of how your website is actually running and performing, okay? This is something you will rarely need back here as well, so I would close that one. Security this is where you would set up your SSL. Bluehost and most hosts do a great job at setting those free SSL tokens up for you, or the SSL certificates for you, okay? So we're gonna just go ahead and close this one. Software, this is where you could upload different packages to your Bluehost host, okay? So we set up WordPress. Okay, you could use these. They have this WordPress Manager by Softalicious. It's basically allowing a separate software program to help you manage your install. Okay, these are programs that we do not need. This is not the normal way to set up WordPress on a new Bluehost host. Okay, more advanced settings that you would rarely ever need. So we're going to close that one. Preferences that you don't need, we're going to close that one. And Softalicious Apps Installer, same thing. This is where you could install applications to your host, okay? Not to your WordPress website, but to your host. Now this is where you would set up WordPress on your Bluehost host account. Okay, so let's say you made a new domain like mynewdomain.com. So then you could come and click here to set up a new WordPress install on that domain. Okay, so if you wanted to create a new WordPress install, this is a great way to come and do that. But being that we don't need these, we will just go ahead and close that one as well. And so now you can see we have a much cleaner, not so scary back end to come. Okay, your file manager is probably the #1 thing you'll need back here in your advanced settings, or what's known as your cPanel. Okay, you can see it right up here. It says cPanel. Also on the right, you'll find your general information. And then also you'll find how many databases you've used. They'll allow you up to 20. You used 1. The disk space that you've used up. And that's about it. Also down here, you'll find your emails and other things that you use and how many you're allowed to, okay? And so that's your cPanel. I'd recommend that you come back here, take another look at some of these things, familiarize yourself with some of the options you have, even though you won't need them, okay? You won't need them now, but it's nothing wrong with coming back here and seeing what's back here. And that's your Bluehost dashboard. Don't forget you can come up here, get some help. Notifications is if you've got like a open ticket with support that will notify you here with updates on that. Then your shopping cart and then your account right here. Let's just go over the account settings real quick. So if we go and click on our profile, this is where we could change some of our Bluehost account information. Okay, this has nothing to do with your WordPress install. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to uncheck all these emails. Okay. And I do not want Bluehost ads on my website's 404 page, not at all. Okay. If you have single sign-on with Google, you could add that here. If you need to change your cPanel language, you could do that here. I'm going to leave it all the same. My settings have been updated. Billing, this is obviously where all your billing information is going to be located and the payments that you've made. My products is you'll see your products that you have with Bluehost. So here's my hosting plan, here's my domain, and here's the products and services that I'm subscribed for. Even if they're free, they're going to be down here, okay? And then finally, security. This is where you could do some extra security, like change your passcode for Bluehost. This is not changing your passcode for WordPress. And also it could help you set up the two-factor authentication with Google. And then finally, Web Pro Access is where you could give access to others that are helping you work on your website and your cPanel and stuff like that, okay? And there you go. We moved around your brand new Bluehost Account Dashboard. Showed you where some settings are, showed you which settings to avoid. You don't need to know everything about all these settings, but it's good to know they're there, especially when you're working with a developer that you might need to set up an FTP account for. Sometimes it's worth just giving your developer your account password and login and let them do the work themselves. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to move around Bluehost Dashboard for your WordPress websites. From there, you could do things like make backups, update your themes and plugins, and much, much more. So don't forget to subscribe, like, and I'll see you in the next one. Aloha.